All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for December 2nd, Monday. Start of a week. It should be a pretty good week with things coming. We're expecting D-Class, hopefully this week. Hopefully not pushed out all the way to the end, but I know some people were thinking the 3rd, some people were thinking the 5th. I'm thinking anything from all of last week. It didn't happen. All of this week. We need it. We got Horowitz on the 9th, releasing the rest of the FISA. We got the deep state pundits on the left, and lots of people thinking it's a nothing burger. It's going to undermine Trump and everything he said. He knows nothing. But then he testifies on the 11th, and then we got Congress adjourns on the 13th. Okay, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by here. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're a returning Patriot, welcome back. You guys are some of the greatest Patriots a fellow ever did meet. Folks, engage with them, all right? Leave a comment down below. Take a look in the description box. Lots of birthday love last week. Thank you so much. It was on the 29th of November. Thank you all so much. One of the things I'm going to be getting is a phone, an actual landline. That'll be 100% awesome and permanent, and at the flip of just a button, you guys can call in on our live shows. Get back to that. And but other than that, we got a story here I did last night on the live show. I don't know if all of you caught it, but we're going to cover it here and a little something else as well. So again, thanks for stopping by, and make sure you check out the description box. Leave I need to add some stuff, but I believe the link for email is down there. I need to add the Patriots Fest 2020 if you're coming in August of 2020, August 14th and 15th. Flag retirement ceremony. Does that spark your interest? Totally free event. Okay, here we go. Epstein. This comes from the True Pundit. Epstein tapes. So this hacker basically comes out, all right? This whole thing takes a bizarre turn. But we knew there was already things going on and collection going on beyond the scope. We knew that Epstein had everything wired, all his places of business. I reported on this almost to an extent of why? What was he doing? His whole island was like, if you were on there, you had to connect to his own server, his own... any incoming, outgoing messages, any incoming, outgoing email, internet searches, text messages, SMS, any of it was captured. Why was a guy going to that extent? It's a little bit more than just, wanting dirt on you. It's a little deeper. So shortly after Jeffrey Epstein's August supposed death in a Manhattan detention facility, a shadowy figure claiming to have set up encrypted servers for the convicted sex offender told several attorneys in New York Times he had a vast archive of incriminating evidence against powerful men stored on overseas servers. That's huge. Including several years worth of the financier's communications and financial records, which allegedly showed he had vast amounts of Bitcoin and cash in the Middle East and Bangkok, and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gold, silver, and diamonds. Going by the pseudonym Patrick Kessler, self-described hacker, said he had thousands of hours of footage from hidden cameras from Epstein's multi-properties, which included former Israel Prime Minister Ehud Barak, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, and Prince Andrew, along with 3 billionaires and prominent CEO, according to the Times. It has been long speculated that Epstein recorded his high-profile guest as part of his international blackmail operation. Armed with nothing more than blurry photos of what he claimed were high-profile individuals in compromising situations, Kessler approached lawyers representing several Epstein accusers, John Pottinger and David Boyce, the former of whom suggested that billionaire Sheldon Adelson, an ally of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, might pay for an alleged footage of Barak. So you could read more here. And this takes you over to Zero Hedge, Tyler Durden. So there's After several weeks, the attorneys invited the New York Times to speak with Kessler in mid-September. Then things got even more unbelievable. Following a mid-September meeting, the Times and Boyce Scaler offices, Kessler went rogue, contacting the paper and accusing Boyce and Pottinger of extortion plot against the subjects of said tapes. Barely an hour after the session ended, the Times reporters received an email from Kessler. "Are you free?" He said he wanted to meet, alone. Tell no one else. Kessler complained that That just jumped. Kessler complained that Mr. Boyce and Mr. Pottinger were more interested in making money than exposing wrongdoers. He pulled out his phone, wanted the reporters not to touch it, and he showed more of what he had. There was a color photo of a bare-chested, gray-haired man with a slight smile. Kessler said it was a billionaire. He also showed blurry black and white images of a dark-haired man receiving oral sex. He said it was a prominent CEO. At one point, he showed what he said were classified CIA documents. Write the Times. Weeks after the meeting, the lawyers struck a deal with the Times during the last Friday in September. They would send a team overseas to download Kessler's evidence from his servers. He had alerted the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan of their intention to do so, and he would then share all the evidence with the paper on the condition that they would have discretion over which men could be written about and when. Separately, Kessler had arranged to give the Times his evidence using a convoluted series of steps. On the day the data was to be transmitted, Kessler canceled at the 11th hour, claiming a fire was burning and he had to flee to Ukraine. In early October, Kessler said he was ready to produce the Epstein files. He told the Times that he had created duplicate versions of Mr. Epstein's servers. He laid out detailed logistical plans for them to be shipped by boat to the United States, and for one of his associates, a very short Icelandic man named Stephen, to deliver them to the Times headquarters at 11 a.m. on October 3rd. Kessler warned that he was erecting a maze of security systems. First, a Times employee would need to use a special thumb drive to access proprietary communication systems. Then Kessler's colleague would transmit a code to decrypt the files. If his instructions weren't followed precisely, Kessler said the information would self-destruct. Specialists at the Times set up a number of air-gapped laptops disconnected from the internet in a windowless, padlocked meeting room. Reporters cleared their schedules to sift through the thousands of hours of surveillance footage. On the morning of the scheduled delivery, Kessler sent a series of frantic texts. Disaster had struck. A fire was burning. The duplicate servers were destroyed. One of his team members was missing. He was fleeing to Kiev. Except 2 hours later, Kessler contacted Pottinger and didn't mention any emergency. Instead, he asked Pottinger to formulate two schemes for prying up $1 billion from potential targets, with footages which the Times suggested may have been a trap. Pottinger obliged, describing two options for capsulizing the evidence. The first, a standard model, the legal settlements, which included splitting the money among Epstein's victims, a charitable foundation, Kessler and the lawyers, who would get up to 40%. In the second hypothetical, the lawyers would approach the high-profile men, convince them to hire them to ensure they couldn't get sued, and then make a contribution to a nonprofit as part of their retainer. Pottinger would effectively represent a victim, settle their case, and then represent the victim's alleged abuser, a legal yet moral questionable practice for an attorney to engage in. Dershowitz and the weird recorded phone call. In late September, Dershowitz's secretary related a message that Kessler wanted to speak with him about Boyce, and whom Dershowitz had a long-running feud. Dershowitz recorded the call, during which Kessler said he had no longer trusted Boyce and Pottinger. The problem is that they don't want to move forward with any of these people legally, said Kessler, adding they just are interested in trying to settle, and take a cut. Who are these people that you have on videotape? Mr. Dershowitz asked. There are a lot of people, Kessler said, naming a few powerful men. He added, there's a long list of people that they want me to have that I don't have. Who? Mr. Dershowitz asked. Did they ask about me? Of course they asked about you. You know that, sir. And you don't have anything on me, right? I do not. No, Kessler said. I do not. No. Because I never had sex with anybody, Mr. Dershowitz said. Later in the call, he added, I'm completely clean. I was at Jeffrey's house. I stayed there, but I didn't have sex with anybody. As the Time asked, what was the purpose of Kessler's phone call? Why did he tell Mr. Dershowitz that he wasn't on the supposed surveillance tapes, contradicting what he had said and showed Mr. Boyce and Pottinger and the Times? Did the call sound a little rehearsed? Dershowitz told the Times he has no idea why Kessler called him, holding out hope. In a November 7th email, Boyce told the Times, I still believe he is what he purported to be, adding, I have evaluate people for my day job, and he seemed too genuine to be fake, and I have very much want him to be real. All right, so this goes on and on a little bit. Well, it kind of ends shortly here, but I'd kind of scanned through this. You can read it in full. So it appears that Kessler was either a fraud or an operative, and the entire saga may have been designed to cast doubt over, this is the conclusion I had read, doubt over whether tapes actually exist or not, or Kessler is for real or not, and for some reason hasn't found a way to release the videos. That said, since he's not interested in exoneration, what's the holdup? So, again, crazy little spin here with this Patrick Kessler. Patrick Kessler, what do you guys think? Real, fake, worth looking at, worth waiting for maybe a little bit more to come out on that? If so, it seems like he's giving them the runaround. I don't know if we really need that. There's already still things going on with all of the Epstein. I mean, look, Prince Andrew just stepped down. Stuff on him and this Alan Dershowitz as well. I think the guy's worried. I think he hung out over at Epstein just a little bit too much. We'll see. And I'm not the one. I mean, you're the one doing it, Dershowitz, on all these shows. You're seem to be a little nervous there, bud. But hey, let the facts go where they lead us. We don't need to jump any guns. Again, let's look forward to. I got another article I want to read here, but I'm going to shut this one down, get this out, and do that one. So we'll see you back here real soon. Make sure you're subscribed. Again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed each and every one of you. And we'll see you back here real soon on the next update.